We are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. Nick Barris here along with Mary Moore. She's with Get Covered Tennessee. It's a nonprofit, okay, and their goal is not to sell you insurance or anything along those lines, but to help you navigate the marketplace, and we're in the open enrollment period right now, right?
Yes.
So it works. They don't get paid to do this in terms of whether or not they push you to a certain plan. Their whole goal is to just help you navigate it and choose the plan that's best for you. I'm just curious too, it's interesting, 7 years, and you know initially when this all started, and of course the political aspect of this, which I'm not going to ask you to get into, but you know, Obamacare and the marketplace and insurance. I'll tell you this, as I say, it's not perfect, but it really has settled down. And I'm just wondering, from you from the outside out, inside out, looking at what's happened, I mean, do you think things have settled down? I'm not asking you to be political here. I'm just thinking in terms of some of the confusion that was definitely there early on, and frankly, some of the real big bugs that you know made it hard for people even to get on there to enroll. In general, politically, I think it's quieted down, but just the way the process works, has it streamlined?
Yes, there's actually a streamlined application this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So last year there was a streamlined application, and then they have, but not everyone was eligible for it. This year, most people are eligible for the streamlined application. So
which means just faster. It's like the 1040 easy when you did taxes.
There's fewer pages to click through. The original application was a little clunky. It was like many separate pages, a lot of clicks on the page. This is a lot smoother and a little more intuitive and simpler and faster.
That's what you want. I like intuitive. That's the best way to go. And by the way, just when obviously a lot of the basis for whether or not you qualify for subsidies is your income. So when you're on the application process and they're asking about your income, how do you confirm what your income is?
This is a great question. This is a question that we get a lot. So the application is asking you to estimate, to the best of your ability, your 2020 income.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of people kind of get hung up. They're like, well, I know what I made in 2019, but the reason I'm on the marketplace is because I don't have that job anymore or something else has changed. So don't just put what you made last year. Really, you know, think about what do you think you're going to earn in 2020. It can be a tough question.
Yeah, because things could change. Well, I mean, and so I would imagine most people want to be honest. But you know as well as I do, what's to prevent someone from lying about their income to qualify for subsidy? Do you have to provide tax records?
What will happen is the next year you will have to reconcile on your taxes. So if you get a subsidy through 2020, when you file taxes for 2020, so next tax season, you'll have to reconcile, which means the marketplace will send you a form called a 1095-A that shows that you had coverage, what you paid for it each month, and how much subsidy you got. You'll take that when you file your taxes, or you'll put it onto TurboTax online by yourself, and then they will compare what you actually earned and what you actually qualify versus what you received already, and you have to reconcile the difference. So you may have to pay some back.
You may have to pay, and I think a lot of people, as I said, are going to be, most of them, honest. But if you're asked to estimate, and let's just say somehow, some way during that next year, you got a pay increase that you didn't see coming and you're making more, that doesn't change right there on the spot. You ride through that year with the subsidies you're getting, but you have to know, all right, when they see what I've earned, I'm probably going to have to pay some of this back.
You can, and ideally you should report it as soon as it happens.
Because then they can adjust it then.
They can adjust it
then.
then.
Then that's good. That's good. Because, I mean, that way you don't have that hanging over your head at the end.
Exactly.
All right. Well, so that's how it works then. If people are, I always wonder, you know, you ask to estimate, or what's your income, and there, it always comes down to taxes, and the IRS will explain it for you. All right, so what are the key, is there anything, since this is our last segment, people need to know what they need to have in front of them when they call a navigator, or maybe what the key stumbling blocks that maybe someone gets stuck on in the middle of a call that they could have been prepared for?
If they've ever if they've ever created an account on healthcare.gov before. So whether you actually went through and signed up or not, if you created an account or started an application or completed an application at any point, it would be really helpful if you could have the email address you created that account with and your password.
Okay,
know
now
I'm
the email
asking a
address is
lot
great.
for people to go
I can
back
tell you
3 or
right
4
now,
years for a
that would be
password.
me, because I could see it. Me at some point getting in there and then just messing with it and then saying, okay, and then forgetting about it and coming back. I'll be able to give you the email, but for the life of me, I will never be able to give you that password. So what if they don't have that?
If they don't have the password, the Navigator can help. So we have a Navigator line to the marketplace that's a little bit more of a direct route.
Okay.
And there's an option for password reset.
All right.
It's a little bit faster than doing it through the website. So we
Cool.
definitely can help out with that. But if you happen to have it written down somewhere, that would be great.
Okay, and I'll let you hit on a couple other items. Let's take Tony real quick.
Yeah.
Hi, Tony.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Nick, I want to see, I know a lot of people are still paying these fines for not signing up for this. My son is one, but a lot of these metro contracts and government contracts, like my son and the others are working on, they ought to offer them some kind of insurance. Because these are full-time jobs.
Sure.
And then next day, you know, he's had to pay out of his pocket to Vanderbilt and the Harry Hospital and everything. So I don't understand. And I know how to pay and get the money out of income tax, but he's really struggling because he has to pay child support and everything. So he don't even worry about his income tax because he's not going to get it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are so frustrated they get hit on both terms. So they don't understand that. Well, I know the government still fines them all this money. The fines build up every year, but people don't explain that to them. Can you go over that for me and help me out on that?
Sure. So there should be, now there may be fines for in the past, and I think that if you haven't paid them in the past, they may carry over. But for not having coverage in 2019 or 2020, there won't be a penalty. So there won't be any additional penalties.
So his son should not worry about
Yes.
that. And I'm not sure
Now-
if that's the penalty he was talking about necessarily there, because it sounded like he's getting some kind of insurance, maybe that he's paying for, and he's having, it's tough
Now,
financial.
if he is paying the penalty, then he should qualify for a subsidy on the marketplace
Okay.
to get affordable insurance. So I would really encourage him to take a look at health insurance again, especially if he's going, uninsured to hospitals. He has until December 15th. Again, there's no pressure. If he decides he doesn't want to sign up, that's fine. But I would really stress to him to check it out again this year, even if he's looked in the past.
Yeah, Tony, listen, we're going to get the number up here as soon as we say goodbye to our guest. And just pass this on to him. Say, son, at least call, check the marketplace, get a Navigator. Because it's possible he could find a plan that doesn't cost him a cent, and he'll have some coverage. And it sounds like he's in a tight economic situation. So he has nothing to lose by at least checking that out, if that's what indeed you're after, is the affordable health insurance there. All right, so the other thing, again, all right, so if you've ever signed up before, I know, because that can mess you up. You guys are seeing another file here, and which one do we go to? So have your password if you've ever signed up before, and your email address. If it's your first time, what is the main thing you need to have in front of you, if anything?
Yeah, be able to access your email either on your phone or on your computer, because when the account's created, you'll need to verify that through email. A good idea of your income. So if that is having your income tax records, if that's having your most recent pay stubs, if that's having a self-employment ledger, whatever your type of income is, thinking about it a little bit beforehand would be really helpful. Social security numbers for anyone who's applying. Now, if there's someone in the household who's not applying, for example, if it's a parent applying for a child, that person doesn't have to put in their social or any type of immigration or citizenship questions if they're not applying for themselves. But anyone who's applying, they'll need their social security numbers, date of births.
Do you want to have a list of the medicines you take, or at least maybe you should know it off the top of your head, but have a list of the conditions you may have?
Now, you don't have to disclose any medical information that you don't want to. You won't be asked any medical questions by a navigator, which I think is important for people to know. If they don't want to disclose something, they don't have to. Now, if it is helpful, then the navigator certainly can help them look in the formulary to see if their prescriptions are covered.
If I wanted to say to the navigator, look, I've got high cholesterol, and I have to pay for Crestor, and I want treatment, to protect my heart. Can you help me find a plan that pays for that?
They can help. They can help them know how much they would pay for that prescription and things like that.
Okay, on that. Okay, and I'm sure there's more than one plan that'll cover statin drugs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the navigator's not so much necessarily just pointing you in the direction of certain plans that are suited to you. It's just the process is what it is.
Facilitating the process and helping the consumer to make an informed decision and find the information.
Okay, and again, this costs nothing. And we'll have the number up there. You make the phone call. The average call is between an hour to an hour and a half. And there's the number again. It's open enrollment until December 15th. We're in it right now. 1-866-475-7879. 475-7879. GetCoveredTennessee.org is the website. You can set up an appointment to meet with a navigator. And then where you go to see the marketplace is at
Healthcare.gov.
healthcare.gov. You know, just seeing that, I'm in a situation again, like many who have it through their place of employment, but if I didn't, I would get excited about this. Just knowing that there's some 41 plans out there, one of which is probably going to be helping me and take the, you know, not having insurance or wondering if you have decent coverage is a huge stressor in everyone's life. And if you get that taken care of for yourself, and especially for your family, what a burden lifted from your shoulders. And there's options here. And let's just say, I mean, you may want more, but if you can just settle for the lowest cost bronze plan, that is still better than nothing.
Definitely.
Right?
Tremendous.
And the very lowest cost bronze plan is something just about anyone's going to be able to afford, okay? Why not?
Yeah.
Go for that. Would you take calls yourself? Will you be taking calls? You're a navigator too.
I am a navigator too.
How many navigators are there in Middle Tennessee?
Right now, so our funding was greatly reduced by over 80%.
What?
Yeah.
From last year?
Well, this happened 2 years ago.
2 years ago, was that? I guess I remember you telling me that 80%. That's federal dollars that was just cut.
Yes.
That's great. That's just great.
So in Middle Tennessee, we have 5.
Okay. That's why you have to set up an appointment. That way people don't sit forever on hold.
Yes.
But
yes.
you're getting
so when you initially call the phone number, it won't take an hour and a half. Somebody will ask a few questions and then set up an appointment for you. And then the phone appointment is what will take longer.
Then you work through that. Mary, you're awesome. I think it's great that this is available to help people through. And trust me, navigators can really help you out along the way. Whether you do that or do it on your own, check it out. All right. Thanks again for coming on.
Great.
All right?
Thank you for having us.
Every year.
Yes.
Okay, as long as you guys are doing it. We'll take a break. When we come back, a programming note plus, I'll put that information up for you one more time if you need to write down that number. We'll be right back.